Welcome, I'm Lauren Vandermast from laurenvandermast.com, elite performance coach. I help athletes and sports people achieve peak performance through coaching and specialized exercise programs. So in this video today, we are going to be talking about the Athlete Academy. So one of the things that I really love doing is helping athletes and sports people actually achieve those results that they've worked so hard for and that they deserve, and doing it in such a way that they're going to avoid or even recover from previous injuries and avoid overtraining and fatigue. So as an athlete or somebody in sport, you want to be the best you can be. It's something you're passionate about. You want to progress because you love it. You want to be the best you can be, and you put a lot of time and energy into your training and also a lot of thought into how you're going to do this. And it can be so incredibly frustrating when you're not seeing the results, when you're not seeing any benefits from that hard work that you put in, and sometimes even more frustrating when instead of seeing those results, you're ending up with injuries, your pain, niggles, or completely burnt out and fatigued. So I'm an athlete myself. I've participated in a large range of sports throughout my life and excelled in them. But I suppose the two most noteworthy ones were ranking third in Australia in rock climbing. And after I had my son, I started jiu-jitsu, and then a year later, I competed in the World Cup and placed second. So how did I get such a quick turnaround, especially with the jiu-jitsu? And I did actually do the same thing with my climbing. I did sort of create a lot of momentum at the start and excelled in a really quick way. And something that I want to throw in here is that I did it without getting injured, which I think is quite noteworthy in the sporting world. So when I started rock climbing, I did what most people do who have a sporting goal and they want to get better, and I started going to the gym and doing a lot of training and exercise, and I wanted to decrease body fat and I wanted to increase my strength. They were my two goals from my training to help with rock climbing. Long story short, after a few months, didn't achieve those results. And so I really did take a step back and started to develop what I now call Training Smart. And I came out with a new program. 2 weeks from putting that program into play, I dropped all the excess body fat that I was trying to lose. And I had some massive gains in strength. So 4 weeks then from starting this training program, I climbed about 4 grades in climbing. So I went up 4 different levels. The good news from all of this is that not only did I get great results from training in this way, I was then able to apply it to many of my clients who were athletes, and they were getting the exact same results in their training. So massive improvements, whether that be through strength or speed. We obviously specify it to their sport, and they were seeing those results in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. But it wasn't that they were just hitting a new level and getting a plateau. It was creating a lot of momentum with their training and their results. And like I always say, which I think is really key, they were doing it without getting injured. And for many of my clients, they already had injuries. And so we were able to heal those injuries so they weren't interfering with their sport anymore. Whether you're an athlete or you're just doing exercise to stay fit or to lose weight, there is, as you will know, a lot of information out there around exercise and training, different methods, styles, a bazillion different types of exercises. And as I shared with you before, when I started rock climbing, I was coming into my training kind of in that general sort of way of training that we currently see in gyms or in fitness magazines. And to get that turnaround in my training and in my results, where I dropped that body fat, I increased my strength a lot, and I was doing it without getting injured, I had to almost sack a lot of these kind of rules that we see out there when it comes to exercise. So obviously you want to know, how are you going to achieve this? Well, there are 2 components that you're going to need. The first one is what I call a healthy foundation. So you've got your training program, you need to put it on something solid. You need a solid base to base your training program on. And that's what I call a healthy foundation. The second thing that you need is a Training Smart program. So you don't want to be wasting your time and energy on exercises that aren't going to maximize your potential and unfortunately are going to hold you stuck where you are and possibly, or quite possibly, but more often than not, lead to injuries and pain. So there are four main topics in the course, and I'll just start to introduce you to them now. The first one is performance coaching. So what you want to do here, maybe you've seen one of those little quotes out there that talk about abs, and they say abs are 30% exercise and 70% made in the kitchen. Now, obviously they're trying to show you here that it's not all about exercise. You need to take into consideration your diet. However, when we're looking at reaching a goal, especially if you set a pretty decent one for yourself, you need to program your mind and sometimes your emotional self to move you forward to that goal. If you look at someone who dominates in their sport, especially people at the who compete in the Olympics, I can tell you right now they do performance coaching. If they do not believe that they can achieve what they want, they can train until the cows come home and they'll never ever reach that goal. You need to have performance coaching. The second thing we look at is your posture. So we, as sort of a society, have some pretty bad habits when it comes to posture, and most of these have come through our environment, and I do explain this in a lot of depth in the course, so that'll help you A, identify them, and B, perhaps reduce them so they're not there. Now, this isn't talked about a lot when we look at training, but when we have a posture, or we stand or move in a way that's deviated from correct posture, we start to create points that are going to receive a lot more wear and tear, whether we're adding time to this thing being out of alignment. So some people who aren't even in sports start to get injuries and pain later on in life because they've added a lot of years to this imbalance, whether it be through high repetition. So somebody who's doing like running, like marathons, high repetition, whether it be through load, weight bearing, or intensity or impact, maybe jumping or a sport like that, then we're going to start getting pain and unfortunately injuries. When I work with a client just on their posture, this is always where I start after the coaching. We haven't done any training stuff with them. We just improve their posture. First of all, they do report a decrease in pain, and that's where injuries start to heal. But secondly, they say they have so much more flow and ease in their movements, and almost like, well, actually, to be honest, they wouldn't be using as much energy through that. And so that's why posture is such an important component in your training, because we spend maybe on average 4% or something of our life training. What are you doing the rest of the time? So posture is something that you can always be working on or creating as a new habit, so you're receiving the benefits of that a larger portion of the time. The third topic that I talk about and I cover in the course is your pelvic floor and core. Because of the way it works, it actually ties in quite a lot to the posture section. They kind of bounce off each other, and then I sort of just have it on its own little topic so we can just get really clear on it, and then I pull it into the training. So it's a massive component, firstly because it's going to help with you creating a flow and an ease in your training. It's going to help with correcting your posture, and it's certainly going to help you prevent or recover from injuries. It's also come to my attention that there are a lot of athletes out there, especially women, who do have an issue with their pelvic floor, and that's going to have a negative consequence with their training. So where we can, it would be great if that's not going to be an issue for you as well. So it is a very, very important topic to cover for an athlete. The fourth topic that we cover in the academy is, of course, your training. It does make up the bulk of the course, and it also plays off the three topics that we've already covered. So it is important to cover those first. In training, we cover things like structuring your training to individualized sessions, to whether it be on a week or how you're going to base your training, and also the types of systems that you want to be training. And what I do is adapt this and talk about how to apply it to different sports and give you an example so you can understand not only for your sport what's specific, but also what's specific for you. We have different strengths. So, you know, even two athletes in the same sport are not going to have the same training focus depending on what they're really good at and what their strengths are and where they're starting. Then we talk about the movements that we want to see in your training, which ones you need, how they work, and why you need them. And then, as I'm always going to talk about, the technique. You need to make sure your technique is spot on. You probably already realize that that is going to help prevent injuries. But again, what I always talk about with injuries is that as we're preventing injuries, we're also wanting to make sure you're utilizing your muscles and they're fully functioning so that you are going to see those gains in your speed or your power or your strength. So how does the Athlete Academy work? When you enroll, which is below this video, you will be emailed a PDF. Inside the PDF is all of the classes in order. Now, the first time that you go through the Athlete Academy, I strongly suggest you do watch it in order. But then, of course, once you understand how it works, go back and use the classes as you need. The reason I suggest you go through them in order is because I keep referring back as I go through the course, and it wouldn't make sense if you not watched those classes. So it has all the classes laid out. When you click on a class, there is a link in that text. That'll take you to the class, which is a YouTube video. So obviously, anywhere you are, as long as you've got a device and internet, you can have the course with you. From following and applying the process in the Athlete Academy, you are going to experience almost instant results that you can actually see and feel, create some serious momentum, experience breakthroughs, and get the results you deserve. Sport and training aren't supposed to feel like a chore or even like a second job, and it can feel like this when it's all hard work with no reward. If you are serious and passionate about what you do, you need to set yourself up for success, and you can do that right now today by enrolling in the Athlete Academy. Right now, the Athlete Academy is open to new enrollments. This is your opportunity to start making breakthroughs and actually see and feel the results from your training. Enrolling in the Athlete Academy gives you full course access. You can watch the classes anytime, anywhere. Obviously, you'll need the internet for anywhere, and you'll be able to create a simple, specific, results-focused training program designed for your training needs. And you will have the knowledge and power to continue to adapt your training program as you continue to reach your goals and set the bar higher. Expect to make breakthroughs in your training that up until now have felt completely impossible. On top of receiving full course access, you will also receive, as part of your current enrollment, any new upgrades that I make to the course or any new classes that I add. The course is currently a complete course, although I do intend to add in some more bonus classes down the track. As I add these bonus classes in, the course fee will increase. You will not have to pay anything extra to receive those new classes. You will also receive a copy of my book. I co-authored Switched On Health and Wellbeing Professionals Volume 2. It is a physical book. It will be delivered straight to your door, and you will also receive access to our Athlete Academy Facebook group. There will be athletes from a whole range of different sports in there. We can ask questions, bounce ideas around, and of course I'll be in there to answer any questions as well. So go below this video to enroll and get the results that you